was reading a tweet and some American is saying, bring us John Pombe Magufuli. And I was in Kenya and I said at one time that we need to Magulify Kenya. In other words, there is a sense in which a new English word can be found, the Magufulification of Africa. In fact, I dare say that even my own, a friend of mine once corrected me when I said that in Africa there is corruption. He said, no, in Africa there is no corruption. Corruption presupposes there is some element of intelligence in theft. What we see in Africa is looting and theft on an industrial scale. No matter how educated you are, no matter how rich you are, if you do not have the gift of discipline, then you are a danger to society. Today, I am asking you, young men and women, be disciplined that you may be a good global citizen.
It is Nelson Mandela who said famously several years ago that a society cannot expect to realize her full potential if 52% of the population is not effectively involved. And we are not talking about tokenism. We are not talking about favors. We are not talking about affirmative action on creation of political offices for women only. We believe that if the society is properly ordered and the historical disadvantages that have stood in the face of women wanting to achieve are removed, then women are as good as men. And in certain areas, they are even better. So what we want is full involvement in the total life of the society.
My Lord, the maxim of law used to be de minimis non curat lex. Professor Juang taught me that, and he'll remember. Of small things, the law knows no cure. You to remember a number of things from the lives of great men, because sometimes, in order to know how great you are, you've got to learn from great men. Look at the life of great Mahatma Gandhi and hear him say, there is no way to success. Success is the way. Listen to the great Mahatma Gandhi. Listen to Mother Teresa of Calcutta when she says, you don't have to do great things, but do small things in a great way. Listen to Mother Teresa of Calcutta. Listen to Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere of Tanzania saying it can't be done, play your part. I am urging you to play your part. Listen to all great leaders in different sectors of the economy and be great. We were told then that you are our servants, and for a long time we believed that you are our servants. But over the years things did change, and we started believing that you are no longer our servants and that you had become our masters, and that therefore even when you claim to represent us in many African countries and you remind us that you are our servants, we do not believe you, because it is the newspapers that are left to say what you say. The question that you must ask yourself, and this is a personal question, now that you have been given the honor and privilege of serving Nigeria, now that Nigerians and Africans refer you to as honorable members, the question is, are you honorable members or horrible members? Because the question as to whether you are honorable is determined by the service that you render to the...
And if I were him at this stage, because he has chosen to fight, if he was to resign, it would have been a little earlier. But I think right now, he has, as the saying goes, as William Shakespeare, I think it is Macbeth, that he has waded so deep into blood that to go back is as tedious as to go forth. So he must go forth to the very end.
Keep going.
And let the chips fall where they may.
Where they may.
And I think it is also important for this country. And that is why I think that it is important that we listen to him in the Senate. I've listened to my good friend Paul Mwite making early arguments in the case I say, and Barack has also alluded to it. At what time was it proper to seek public opinion or public participation? They should have waited until he made his case on the floor of the National Assembly so that the people will have heard him and heard the mover of the motion, but they put the cart before the horse. And as we said a little earlier, the choreography was a choreography that was designed to achieve an end, which end has been achieved in the National Assembly. But as we know, the journey is not.
We're going to spend millions of shillings now in the process of impeachment of the deputy president, going around the country to ask us whether the deputy president is guilty or not guilty. Who among them is without sin? The sins that they are accusing the deputy president of, each one of them almost without exception. I would have wanted my parliament to discuss the economic situation. I would have wanted to hear my parliamentarians talking about the lack of salaries or proper remuneration for different cadres of the society. I do not hear that. Instead, they are defending, they are fighting about the Constituency Development Fund, which I don't think they should manage. That is not their duty. And when you walk around Nairobi or any part of the country, you see the poster of a member of parliament, constructed courtesy of this parliament. That is our tax money. Should not bear the image of an individual. It is sad, my sister. It is sad, Eric, that we are in this space. But I can guarantee you, if it is not in our lifetime, if this continues, this country is going to pay. And that could be the revolution that will change things, that if we are not careful, it could become worse before it becomes.
That the farmer sitting in Gulu, when he is asked about East Africa, he or she can relate to it. The nuclear decision that will ensure that somebody sitting in Iringa can relate to the East African community. The reality that when somebody is sitting in Meru in Kenya will be able to identify with the East African community. That is what we are looking for. And today, we are assembled here to interrogate ourselves. We are assembled here to ask ourselves uncomfortable but necessary questions. We are assembled here to ask ourselves what then it is that we can do to move the agenda forward, and to move the agenda forward in a manner that is conscious of the fact that if we don't expedite the process of federation, the process of unification, then we will become sitting ducks for those whose diabolical intentions and scheme not only require but demand that we remain in our state of disunity. Your Excellency, you will remember several years ago, you said, when we were talking about East African community, and you are talking about the insignificance of our small markets. If my memory serves me well, and it normally does, Your Excellency, you asked, why should Kenya say that it has a big economy? Bigger than what? Why should Tanzania say that it has an even slightly bigger economy than Uganda? And Uganda say that it has a bigger economy than Sudan? Your Excellency then said, that is an exercise in futility. It is three dwarfs trying to argue which one is taller than the other. They are all dwarfs, even if one is taller than the other. I'm submitting to Your Excellency that we cannot continue to be... As we come here, if one were to use the word res judicata loosely, I will not. I would say that these issues are res judicata, but I will not say that, knowing that your jurisdiction is sui generis. So the totality of our submissions, your lordships and your ladyships, is that we have demonstrated through the various affidavits that this petition is destitute of merit. And because it is destitute of merit, it should suffer only one fate, the fate of dismissal. But there are two things I want to say before I sit down. That when you look at your petitioners' written submissions, they suffer the same fate as all their pleadings. The rule of the thumb is that you don't use your submissions to introduce new evidence. Their submissions are used to introduce new evidence, thus offending all the rules that govern written submissions. In a nutshell, my lords and your ladyship, what you have before you in my respectful submission is a petition that is dead on arrival. What you have before you is a petition that is replete with speculation, is a petition that does not have the evidential weight that is worthy of overturning the election that was conducted by the first respondent and its chairman, the chairman of the IEBC. I therefore respectfully submit, on the basis of the submissions that have been made on our behalf, on the basis of the affidavits that have been filed, on the basis of the authorities that we have filed, on the basis of our written submissions, which you'll have the opportunity to read in their full flavor, to come to a finding that this petition is without merit and to dismiss it with costs to your respondents. Those are my respectful submissions. Unless your lordships and your ladyships want me to clarify anything, I beg to sit down.
Thank you, Mr. Lumumba. You were clear.
May God bless you. God bless you.